UFC Abu Dhabi was yesterday, guys, and I'm going to be recapping the whole main card for you guys, starting with the main event and moving down to the opener of Alvarez versus Brenner. There was good, there was bad, there was ugly, and then there was Tony Ferguson half retiring, so we're gonna, yeah, that was fucking weird. So we're gonna start with the main event. I really had to watch Corey Sandhagen get 50-45, 49-46. That was tough, bro. Corey was one of the picks and sadly one of the bets that I got wrong last night. I thought that Corey was going to have the advantages on the feet. I thought he was going to really hold his own on the ground, and I guess that's half true. But Umar, and look, dude, I'm not an Nurmagomedov fan, but Umar is the real fucking deal, man. Nobody can just do that to Corey Sandhagen. Not only did Umar out-wrestle him, but he outstruck him. You know, it's like a Bilal versus Edwards situation where it's like not only are they taking them down and like showing dominance on the ground, they're also out striking the striker. I feel like Corey was more so focused on the wrestling for this whole camp that he kind of like forgot how to get it going on the striking. And I think that's kind of what lost him this fight, because Corey was doing a fantastic job of not letting Umar hold him down until around the 5th round. But all of the takedowns that Umar was landing, Corey was just popping right the fuck back up. And that part on Sandhagen's perspective was very impressive. He showed that he really could hold his own on the ground, but when they were getting into these exchanges on the feet, Umar was out striking him and putting forward the pressure, and Corey just was missing that Corey aspect to him, if that makes sense. It was a diabolical performance from Umar, man, and I really can't believe how well he adjusted to going from unranked bums to the number 2 contender in the world, and the legit number 2 contender in the world. Corey is really, really good, man, and this was to find out who was next for, you know, O'Malley versus Dvalishvili, who's going to face the champion. And, you know, I know that a lot of people are like, Umar doesn't deserve the shot because he only beat one ranked guy. That one ranked guy is Corey Sandhagen, right? And he 49-46 them, and you know he's fucked up everyone else, but again, they're all a bunch of no names. But I know there's guys like Figgy right now, but I think that Umar deserves the shot, man. Coming from a guy who's not an Umar fan, but I think he should be facing the winner. I mean, you don't just do that to Corey fucking Sandhagen. I think that says a lot. I understand that it's frustrating that that's his only ranked win. Trust me, it is, but it is what it is, and I think Umar's the real fucking deal, man. In terms of Sandhagen, I'm honestly not really sure where he goes from here. He's fought already most of the top 10, and I don't know a lot of the super intriguing matchups out there for him right now. It's kind of tough. Up next, though, we do have Shara Bullet versus Mikhail Alex. I don't know how to fucking say it. This was a great high-paced fight, man, and I think we got to see a lot of Shara's great striking on display. For a middleweight too, man, he's very clean and quick with it. I do think he lacks a little bit of that power, though. I understand that his opponent is not the easiest to put away. He's a very durable, mostly a guy that gets submitted, and there was no fucking shot Shara was doing that, man. He's really got to work on that ground game, really got to work on that takedown offense. I thought those two things are the biggest things that are going to hold him back in this division, especially with a guy like Drick as his champ, and other rising contenders like Bo Nickel on the way. But he's lacking a little bit of the power, man. But other than that, you know, he's got really clean technique and he's got really good form, man, and he's a really good, classy striker, and I love seeing that from the Daggies. And again, this was a fun fight, but I also gotta notice Shara once again did the fence grab. He did that in his last fight as well, man, and we can't keep having that shit. That's 2 fence grabs in 2 fights, and it kind of just goes, you know, it kind of gets brushed aside, but like, that could change the entire outcome of the fight. It probably wouldn't have, but dude, it's the fight biz, man. You know, any little thing can change this shit. It was a fun fight. I mean, there's a few fights for Shara now. I still think he's one away from the rankings, but Davison Figueiredo versus Cheeto Fair, this was another fun one. We really got Cheeto dropping before GTA 6, bro. Taking that insane knee from O'Malley and all the other punishment he's taken over the years, and Davison Figueiredo, no joke. And he is seriously 3-0 now at bantamweight, just knocked down Cheeto and beat him 2-1. Davison's the real deal, man, you know, and I would love to see him get another fight, and then, you know, maybe that should be up, and after that, maybe give him the title shot. I think we all knew Cheeto was going to lose round 1. We knew he was going to be very slow. You know, maybe us knowing that was going to make him go, huh, you know, maybe this is only 3 rounds. I kind of got to get after it, get going from the jump. That did not happen. You know, Cheeto lost round 1, came back well in round 2, and he took that round. That was a good back and forth round, and he was stuffing all of Figueiredo's takedowns. It seemed like Figueiredo was kind of spontaneously throwing them more than throwing with purpose, like he kind of was in rounds 1 and kind of in 3. And then Davison proceeded to come back and take round 3. So he won 2-1. Cheeto had his moments, but, you know, this was a really classy performance by Davison, man. He was out out wrestling him, and he had the knockdown, and it was really competitive on the feet, man. Figueiredo's just got a great pace, and I think his transition from flyweight to bantamweight has been great to watch. I mean, I understand that everybody weight cuts, but I feel like that cut to flyweight was one of those ones where it really was affecting Figueiredo. And again, now that we're seeing him in bantamweight, we're really seeing him kind of, I don't want to say live up to his full potential, but that's kind of what it is, you know? He's 36 years of age, man. He's taken out all these young guys to beat the young guys who have been around at the top for a while too. He's beat Rob Font now, and then he's beaten Cody Garbrandt, and then he's beaten Cheeto Vera now. You know, he's really up there, and now he's going to be ranked in the top 5. He's no joke, and he's great, man. There were a few times where I think the commentary team was kind of questioning his gas tank, which I think would have made it, you know, extra interesting if it went 5 rounds for this one, because then you got Cheeto Vera, who kind of continuously moves up. But it is what it is, man, and it was a great fight, and we only got 3 rounds, but Davidson's here to stay, dude, and his power and his athleticism and his wrestling is no fucking joke at bantamweight. Up next, we have Tony Ferguson versus Michael Chiesa. I really hope it's Tony time, man. I know that, I mean, only fucking Tony Ferguson can retire with 1 glove. Retire, too. And Chiesa, bro, I'm not a fan of the guy, but he was, like, super respectful in trying to give Tony his moment. Like, he was like, he said, like, 20 seconds on the mic, and he's like, I'm gonna hand this over to Tony. This is his time. It was indeed not Tony time, all right? Tony was kind of, you know, saying he has to go back home and kind of figure out what's up, but like, I don't think any of us want to see Tony back in the cage. Even Tony fans, you know what I'm saying? Because he already now has the longest losing streak in UFC history with 8. And if he can't beat Michael Chiesa, and I understand, here's the thing though about the Michael Chiesa fight, right? Is that it was up a weight class, it was at welterweight, and Tony is obviously not that size. You know, looking at that's Kamaru Usman, Khamzat Chimaev, Leon Edwards, those guys are weight class. Dude, well, Khamzat's a middleweight now. You know what I'm fucking saying. Tony, man, it was pretty interesting to see him want to move up to welterweight for this one. And again, you know, I think the size difference was very apparent in the fight. By the way, man, if you can't beat Michael Chiesa, I don't know who Tony's going to beat. We're going to have Tony Ferguson versus Chase Hooper, and now Chase Hooper's going to take him out in a round. You know, there has to be a limit, like a cutoff on the side of Tony's family, on the side of Tony's coaches, on the side of the UFC, where we're saying, hey, man, you know, the damage is done. You set your record for losing the most in history, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, I'm a Tony fan, man, but I just think it's time, and I don't think there's any intriguing or compelling matchups out there for him. I think it's better to just kind of let the guy go, man. He's Tony, and it showed. That's why he only did the 1 glove thing, and that's why he wanted to, you know, kind of, you know, he loves the UFC, and he doesn't want to fight anywhere else, and, you know, that's good. I don't want to see Tony next fighting fucking Jake Paul. Please fucking end me if that happens. But Chiesa just made it look easy, man, you know? I mean, Tony had a few moments on the ground, or sorry, on the feet, but then the second it got taken down, man, it was fucking over very quickly after that, you know? And Chiesa, all fair play to him, but he had his number tonight really bad. You know, when Michael Chiesa is making fights look easy, man, no disrespect to Chiesa, but that is a red flag, you know? We gotta, I don't know, I just think it's time for Tony, man. I don't think there's any good matchups out there for him. I think he's about to be 41 years of age. You know, I don't know what the fuck you do with Chiesa, nor do I really care, to be honest with you. He kind of just came in, was another guy to beat Tony Ferguson now, and now he's leaving. No disrespect to the guy. I don't know, man. We're just continuously seeing Tony drop down in competition, and I think it's just time to cut it off. Nobody beats Father Time. And then, to close this out, we had Alvarez versus Brenner. Now, this was a really great fight. I'm pretty sure Alvarez got performance bonus for this one. This was a great scrap from start to finish. Round 2 was probably the slowest one, you know, but, you know, Alvarez with the TKO in round 3 and a very high-paced round 1, you know, it was a great fight. I think the biggest thing that showed with Brenner tonight was the lack of experience. I think he was relying a lot on the feints, and I think he was very hesitant to kind of like execute his game plan if he had one, or hesitant to kind of like, you know, I think he just couldn't figure Alvarez out. And Alvarez, on the contrary, was very patient with his movements. You know, when he was landing, it was clean and it was good and it was hard. And, you know, when he was connecting, it was great. But he was very, I don't want to say technical with it, but he was very like waiting for the right moments. And I think that was the way to go, man. I think going into this fight, I was saying that Brenner, his goal was to make it a brawl, and Alvarez's goal was to avoid that. And we had a great fight we got to watch, but Alvarez did a good job of, you know, making it not a brawl and, you know, picking and choosing his shots, and he executed it perfectly. It was a fantastic performance from Alvarez, man. 100% finish rate. Dude is no fucking joke. Alvarez called out Bobby Green afterwards. I think that's a great matchup to make next. I don't know when it would go down, maybe sometime later this year. King Green likes to be active himself, so let's get Alvarez versus King Green, maybe Grant Dawson next. There were also a few other fights I kind of wanted to talk about making Sandhagen next. Just a little fun ideas. I don't know. Maybe they're not that fun. Maybe they're shit. I think obviously Umar is next for the title shot. You know, I know that you have contenders up there. I know you got Figgy now. You know, but I think that Umar is next, and I think that you should do Figueiredo versus Jan. Piotr Jan is ranked 3 in the world, I believe, maybe 4, and now you have Figueiredo, who's about to be 4 or 5, and you know, let's put them together, man. That is going to be a striking spectacle, and I think that's going to be a banger of a matchup. I love that fight. Figgy versus Jan, man, I think it makes sense for both guys. Let's run him. Where do you go with Cheeto? I'm not really sure. Maybe you give Cheeto, maybe you give him Henry Cejudo. Corey is the hardest one here, man, because Corey has fought most of the top 10. He's already fought Jan, he's already fought Cheeto, he's already fought Song. You know, you got kind of the lower rank guys like Mario Batista, Kyler Phillips, but they're already booked. Phillips is going to fight Rob Font, who Corey already fought. Batista's fighting Jose Aldo. Aldo versus Sandhagen would have been a great fight, but we're not getting that, man. You have Dominic Cruz, you know, Sandhagen versus Cruz, that's an alright fight, but I don't know if a lot of us want to see it. So really the only guy that Corey has yet to face is Henry Cejudo, so maybe you put Sandhagen in there with Cejudo. It does kind of make sense for both guys, but I don't know if you want to just throw Corey back into another wrestler. I think that's the biggest problem with Corey versus Cejudo. I would love to see next for Shara Bullet, man. I say put him against Joe Pfeiffer. I think that'd be a great fight. Both young rising prospects, right? I know that Pfeiffer they rushed him a little bit too early and he lost to Hermanson. Great performance by Hermanson regardless, but you know what I'm saying. You could do Shara versus Roman Kopylov. You could do him versus Ikram Aliskerov. You know, I think Shara needs to face another up-and-coming guy with a lot of momentum, and then maybe after that you give him someone in the top 15. So yeah, man, I would put Umar against the champ next. I'd make Figgy versus Jan, and I would do Corey Sandhagen against, I don't know, maybe waiting for someone kind of like for these fights at bantamweight to play out, and then you kind of decide what you do with Sandhagen. He's just in a very hard position right now, man, because now he's about to be, you know, still in the top 5, but he's fought most of them, and they're all booked now except him. So maybe this is good for Corey. You know, take a little time to step back, you know, reevaluate, focus on something and someone other than Umar Nurmagomedov. And then I say do Shar versus Joe Pfeiffer, and then Joel Alvarez versus King Green, maybe Grant Dawson, but I say King Green. And that's gonna be it, guys. That's the UFC Abu Dhabi recap. Thank you guys so very much for watching and giving me y'all's time. I appreciate it greatly. All the smoke, MMA. Thanks for tuning in, y'all.